So happy Laser Day, happy World Population Day, happy Free Slurpee Day, happy Fuck Amazon Prime Day, happy Da Vinci Robot Surgical System is approved by the US FDA Day. So a lot of things have happened on July 11th, and I've been trying to organize them, and the problem that I have actually is between popularity, what's popular, what is it that people know, versus the things that I believe are worthy of celebration. So let's take the example of To Kill a Mockingbird. So on July 11th, 1960, To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee is first published by J.B. Lippincott and Company. So that's exciting, right? Until you read To Kill a Mockingbird 2. The fucking book and the movie is incredible, bar none. Just home run, absolute great story, great arc. But, you know, number 2 isn't so good. It's fictional, so I don't know. Now compare that to Czechoslovakia adopts the Constitution. That happened also the exact same day. The exact same day Czechoslovakia adopted a Constitution. Now that's got the potential for being revolutionary. Changing the leadership, changing the Constitution. That's how you get a revolution, a peaceful electoral or constitutional revolution. Now I would want to look at the people who penned the Constitution, what were the values of that Constitution, but I would most likely, and the fact that part of my bloodlines is Bohemian, that takes me back to the Czech Republic. So this is back to my people. What are my people up to? Well, in 1960, we're adopting a constitution. And adopting a constitution is a way bigger fucking deal than some lady writing a story. Some lady wrote a story. But To Kill a Mockingbird is popular. Czechoslovakia adopting a constitution is not as popular, but it's important. Now, I like pushing the scientific progress up to the top, because you can't fuck with science. You cannot fuck with scientific inventions and, you know, the revolutionary, just the fork. Imagine life before the fork. And then now you got a metal object that you can jab into your meat. It changes your entire life. So Theodore Harold Maiman, the inventor of the laser, was born on this day. He invented the laser. So that's, you know, 1927. Also, 1927 is when Totem Stores was founded. 7-Eleven, July 11th. So there's free Slurpees from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Already got one this morning. I should go get another one. The Da Vinci Robot Surgical System was first approved by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, and they use it in the gallbladder, gastroesophageal reflux, and gynecological operations. So we got robots doing our surgery now for us, and it's with a robot like the PlayStation. The doctor's in the other room controlling the robots. That was in 2000. You can't fuck with that. We got robots doing surgery now. And that's, without a doubt, you know, that should have been mentioned before the Slurpee thing, right? And how fucking corporate is that Slurpee thing? And then that laser, I don't know, laser's a pretty big deal. And then it's the man, it's a scientist, so I don't know if Theodore Harold Maiman has, you know, put out some information out there for the rest of us to read. Now, another popular thing that happened on July 11th, 1992, you had presidential candidate Ross Perot call black folks "you people" at an NAACP meeting. So this is 92. Ross Perot he got 20% of the vote. He ran under the Reform Party. So he was, in modern history, the man who has got the most votes being an independent or third-party candidate for president. 20%, and he was actually the reason why Baby Bush, or no, who was 92? Dole. They said that Perot knows Papa Bush. 92 was Papa Bush versus Bill Clinton and Ross Perot. and it was said that Ross Perot had taken more conservative votes, therefore pushed Bill Clinton over the edge. So, and then, after that had happened, then the Commission for Public Debates, or Presidential Debates, made sure no fucking independents could ever fuck up the two-party stranglehold on our democracy. So he said, you people, and now he was talking about you people, you black people, your people. So, it is a racist thing. Race is a social construct. So by saying you people, he was separating himself from black folks. But I bet you there are some black folks that would say, hey, he's a white guy. So if they would say that, then him saying you people is just like saying black folks. Now fast forward till today, when you have Donald Trump, who's like, oh, the blacks. Yeah, oh yeah, the blacks doing this, the blacks doing that. And that's so flippant, right? That's not saying you people. That's essentially what he was saying, black folks. He was saying when the economy hurts, then it's you people, black folks, who get it the worst. And he's, essentially right. So to be harping about him for saying you people, I think you should look at the context of what he was talking about. If we're going to pretend that black and white exist and that these are important racial constructs, then he would be correct in saying, black folks as a people, as a nation, as a group. Now, white people are too individualistic. I'm not for sure if there is. The fucking Klan, they're the only ones I know that are white nationalists, but the rest of white America are not white nationalists, and we're very independent. So we don't give a shit about each other. When one of us, right, Cameroon, Redis, when they get shot and go down, I mean, So, let's get through all these events, because since I was indecisive, I was wanting to just put up a short list. But there's a lot of stuff here that I don't know that I would like to know about, and the list goes on and on. Hank and Tommy Aaron hit a home run in the same inning. July 11th, 1962. Hank Aaron had to go through a lot of racist bullshit beating Babe Ruth's home run record. But baseball's nostalgia. I'm not into baseball as much anymore, so that's a popular thing. Ross Perot calling black folks you people's a popular thing. But the Ivory Coast, Dahomey, aka Benin, Upper Volta, which is Burkina now, and Niger all declare independence. And it was by legislation from France. So France legislates for the independence of Dahomey, Benin, Upper Volta, Burkina, and Niger. And I'm not sure how the Ivory Coast got in there. And it was 1960. In fact, between those 12 months of 1960, you had 17 sub-Saharan African nations, including 14 former French colonies who gained independence from their former European colonists. So 1960 was a revolutionary year, and on this day, you had all these black nations that declared their independence from colonization. That's fucking huge. That is huge. So, that's not as popular. Now, I don't really give a shit about antiquity, classical antiquity, the Greeks and the Romans. These are empires. I don't know why we carry on their bullshit anyways. 2,000 years ago. July 11th, 472, you had Anthemius. He's captured in St. Peter's Basilica and he's put to death. He's killed by Ricimer, his own general of Gothic descent. Or perhaps it was Gundobad. So we don't exactly know who killed him, but it was his own generals. And who gives a shit? 472, the emperor got fucking killed. So that's kind of interesting. Oh, damn, the emperor's dead now, I guess there's a new emperor in town. And is that how Rome, behaved? They just kept offing their fucking Roman dictators? Doesn't seem sustainable. The first automobile race that ever happened from Paris to Bordeaux. It was 1,178 kilometers. It was completed in 48 hours and 48 minutes. So 2 days. The first automobile race happened. That's pretty important. Automobiles are one of the most important fucking inventions, of all time. So I'm going to put that above the Roman emperor getting killed. And then Mongolia gains their independence from China. So that's another Independence Day. So it wasn't just Niger and Burkina and Benin and the Ivory Coast, but you also had Mongolia. You know, Mongolia. You might be able to identify with the French, but Mongolians, they got their independence, right? They fought their independence just like we fought Britain. Mongolia became their own country. We got to become America. Now here's one, the 1960 also. The state of Katanga breaks away from the Democratic Republic of the Congo. That's the big Congo. You got the Republic of the Congo, which is a small sliver, and then you got the Democratic Republic of the Congo. And I want to say it's either Congo or Nigeria. These are highly populated countries. We need to be paying attention to these nations. There's a genocide. 5 million people got killed in the Congo like a couple years ago. That's weird. That's fucking crazy. I don't remember a big deal, you know, being made about it. So that's, they declared independence. Usually independences are good things, but I'm not for sure about the state of Katanga. Moise to Sajamba declares Congolese. So I'm not for sure what's up with that. I want to say it's a good thing. It's significant. Now, this, I don't think it's a good thing or bad thing. I just think it's badass. So I don't know if this El Chapo man has killed people, if he's a murderer, you know, if he killed innocent people. It's hard to, you know, champion a fucking murderer. For me it is, at least. Now, I know on the $20 bill, you Andrew Jackson loving motherfuckers, y'all like killers. But El Chapo, he escapes from the Altiplano maximum security prison west of Mexico City via a specially constructed 1.5 kilometer tunnel from his cell to a nearby house. That is amazing. 2 years ago, he escaped out of a Mexico prison with a big-ass tunnel. So, in terms of badassness, that's a fucking badass thing that happened there. So that's way bit more of a badass thing than To Kill a Mockingbird. It's a good story. Fiction, I don't know what the point of fiction actually is. There's so many incredible real-life fucking heroes. So, the chess championship between Bobby Fischer and Boris Spassky begins also on July 11th, 1972. So that's true. That's a true story. It's a badass story. The World Chess Championship of 1972. It was like, I think it was like U.S. versus Russia. Again. Tijuana in Mexico becomes a city. Right? I'm somewhat leery of these independent state movements because as a anarcho-syndicalist, as a social anarchist, I do question the state many times. But the state can also protect the people and provide services, so sometimes, you know, Tijuana becoming a city, I like to think that's a good thing. The July 11th, 1981, Neva Rockefeller is the first woman ordered to pay her husband alimony. That's fantastic. That's incredible. That's, you know, fair, to be honest with you, right? How's that feel, Neva Rockefeller? You probably don't like it, do you? Your husband sat around all them years, and now that you're divorced, you still got to pay him money? What the fuck is that about? So that's an interesting story. I'd like to check that out. July 11th, 1861. All these Confederate fucking KKK people are still protesting the Confederate flag coming down. Should be put in a museum. They shouldn't be monuments and artifacts and shit. This is not shit we should be. These are terrorist nation, homegrown insurgency, white supremacists. Why the fuck would you support the Confederacy unless you're just a goddamn racist piece of shit? A white supremacist. A cyst who needs to be cut out like a cancer. The cancer that you are. The Battle of Rich Mountain, we saw the rebels. We kicked the fucking Confederates. I don't even like calling them rebels. They're conscripted, right? So what were they rebelling against? They were doing as their master told them to do. The Battle of Rich Mountain took place on July 11th, 1861 in Randolph County, Virginia, which is now West Virginia. Robert S. Garnett was the first general officer to be killed in the war, who was a Confederate. So the Confederate general was killed at the Battle of Rich Mountain. George B. McClellan and William S. Rosecrans was with the Union with 7,000 soldiers, overwhelming Garnett with his 1,300 Confederate soldiers. 46 Union soldiers died and 300 Confederates died. So they had overwhelming amount of soldiers. No fucking way McClellan or Rosecrans could have lost this damn battle. 7,000 versus 1,300. And the numbers showed 300 were killed versus 46. But 46 did die, so the Union wasn't without their losses. So I think it's good to... The Civil War is the Second American Revolution and the World War II. The American Revolution, it's race, it's conservative and liberal. I can't go one way or another, but I can't fuck with the Civil War and I can't fuck with World War II. I really enjoy killing Nazis and Confederates. Fuck them. Fuck them pieces of shit. So, I like to think about the Civil War because these assholes are still talking about the same shit, the same fucking issues back then. Only there's no slaves, so what the fuck are y'all still fighting for? You know, people, this is like antebellum. This is like pioneer days. It's like a whole nother era. I don't really resonate with them, but if I do resonate, it's with the Unions, it's with the Germans, it's with Abraham Lincoln, it's with freeing the slaves, it's with the black folks. It's the Second American Revolution. It also brings the United States together. And we've been together ever since. A nice, happy marriage. Aren't we a big, happy family, America? July 11th, 1984, the government orders airbags or seatbelts to be required in cars by 1989. So that's a good fucking law, right? I want to say Ralph Nader had the consumer movement. Putting seatbelts in cars was because of Ralph Nader. July 11th, 1971, copper mines in Chile are nationalized. These are U.S. copper mines, right? U.S. companies was digging all the copper out of fucking Chile, and then the parliament nationalized the damn mines, which pisses off Kissinger and Nixon, so they killed Salvador Allende, coup d'etat Chile. But they were doing right. The copper mines in Chile being nationalized, they were doing right. That happened July 11th, 1971. Here's a revolution led by liberal general and politician Jose Santos Zelaya. He takes state power in Nicaragua. That happened in 1893. Nicaragua still has their issues. But I bet you that, this Jose Santos Zelaya is a fucking badass. I like him. But in the long term, Nicaragua couldn't, the U.S. invaded Nicaragua and they got a lot of issues. I don't know if they still have issues today. But I think, that's it. That's an important event. A revolution led by Zelaya takes over state power. So that's when the revolution was victorious, right? They achieved state power. Here's something, the dissolution of Prussia. East and West Prussia vote in a plebiscite to become part of Germany. Though a slice of West Prussia will be handed to Poland to provide a Polish corridor. So West Prussia was given to Poland, and then the rest of Prussia became a part of Germany because of this vote, right? Prussia doesn't exist today. I'm part Prussian too. Not just Bohemian, Prussian, African, Bavarian, Austrian. July 11th, 1804, Alexander Hamilton is shot and killed by Aaron Burr. That happened. Alexander Hamilton, I have pros and cons with him. He was against slavery. He was a poor guy, but he also advocated for monarchy and dictatorship and getting the United States indebted. So get a Bank of the United States so the American people are enslaved through their debts. Aaron Burr wasn't as bad of a fucking guy. Eventually he tries to do, I think, the Spanish conspiracy. But Aaron Burr was the fucking vice president under Thomas Jefferson. Aaron Burr was around for a lot of shit. I want to say he fought in the Revolution, and I don't know. He's got pros and cons too. So this is a duel that's fucking Hamilton, you know, fuck, one of the forefathers killed in a duel. It's weird, but it's like, I challenge you to a duel, what can you do? You gotta defend your manhood, you don't want to be a coward. Kentucky had to outlaw duels. Public officials, you had to vouch that you were not a part of a duel because it became such a problem in Kentucky. Now the Battle of Golden Spurs happens. A coalition around Flemish cities defeats the King of France's royal army. And this was also the day of the Flemish community of Belgium. And so I think that this is the same, you know, the reason why the day of the Flemish community is happening, because they, you know, beat France's royal army. I'm not 100% about that, but it is the day of the Flemish community. And maybe crazy coincidence, but on July 11th, 1302, a coalition around the Flemish cities. So, is that Flemish? Alright, that's a nation, the Flemish nation. July 11th, 1533, Pope Clement the 7th excommunicates England's King Henry VIII. So, you're excommunicated King Henry VIII. King Henry VIII did a lot of fucked up shit, right? Chopped off heads of his exes just so he... Oh, I didn't cheat. Couple more things, and I got a lot of information about this. I also like to say the date and then just the, you know, the event. So just to make it a nice, quick, short little list. So the event is 1405 on July 11th. The Ming Admiral Zheng He set sail to explore the world for the first time. Zheng He was castrated, so this motherfucker don't have any nuts. But in 1405, a century before the Europeans started exploring the world, Zheng He commanded 62 treasure ships, 190 smaller ships, and then 27,800 men. All of them to go around exploring shit in Southeast Asia. So he went like to Sri Lanka and Calicut and Cochin and Vietnam and Siam and Malacca and Java. He eventually brings zebras and giraffes back. He does lots of them. He goes to lots of different countries. But that's fantastic. I don't appreciate Chinese culture enough. They are a civilization that's been around for a long-ass fucking time. So, yeah. July 11th, 1525, there was a trial against the heretic John Pistorius, who was a married Roman Catholic priest at The Hague. Eventually, John Pistorius, he was Johannes Pistorius, that's his Latin name. His actual name is Johannes de Bakr von Borden. But he's actually a Roman Catholic priest. He's a Roman Catholic priest. He's one of the sacramentarians. So he rejected the sacraments of the Catholic Church. He denied that the host consecrated at Mass was the real body and blood of Jesus. He did not believe in transubstantiation. He thought it was bullshit. The indulgences and pilgrimages he thought was idolatry. And he said that was the reason why there was low moral standards and conduct amongst the clergy. So he broke his vow of celibacy, got married, and he got arrested and tried by the Inquisition. This is in the Netherlands. He's thrown in The Hague, and he's burnt at the stake. So they kill him. He's like one of the first Protestant martyrs. And a Protestant is anyone who isn't part of the Catholic Church, but he was a Catholic, so he was like not Roman Catholic enough. He questioned things. And then when they were killing him and he was being burnt at the stake, he was trying to be tough about it, but he was like, "Oh death, where is thy victory?" So what did he win by doing that? He got fucking murdered. He got murdered because he was right to believe, you know, he questioned some of the things, and really he should have questioned the whole fucking thing. So it just shows you, you know, people show their ass. If you just kind of point out one thing about, you know, their organization that's all fucked up and then they kill you over it, well, maybe the whole goddamn thing is, you know, an oppressive, murderous organization. Last four things. The Battle of Laurel Mountain in Virginia. So there's another Virginia battle in the Civil War. that forces the retreat of the Confederates. So the Battle of Laurel Mountain. General Morris forces the retreat of the Confederates. July 11th, 1813, another Emperor, Michael I, under threat by conspiracies, abdicates in favor of his general Leo the Armenian and becomes a monk. So that's, these are two emperors that stepped down from power. He quit because he was being threatened by conspiracies, so people were threatening to hurt him, to kill him, probably, right? So it's with the threat of death, or they actually killed that other emperor, in 473 or some shit. So the Roman Empire, this is the fucking empire we tried to emulate. This is the empire that, and they actually, when they invaded new lands, they inducted new people as citizens. We don't even do that. But they're not, they're not a fucking empire to emulate. That's for damn sure. Especially since, what the fuck happened to them? The 11th night, this is Northern Ireland. They have lots of bonfires, a yearly Ulster Protestant celebration. So perhaps we could do this. And, I was sort of mixed about John Pistorius because he's not an atheist. He's a Catholic and he's fighting for all this, fucked up shit. But he was married and he was, the all indulgences and the pilgrimages was bullshit. He's against idols. So he's like an iconoclaster. The host mass is just a piece of bread. It's not the actual literal fucking blood and body of Jesus, who we don't even know fucking existed. He rejected the sacraments of the church. So really, he was a Roman priest who just did his own fucking thing. And the reason why I want to talk about him, because I'm like, I don't know if I want to bring... did he die for nothing? John Pistorius? This isn't a celebration. This isn't great, but in a way, he is a fucking martyr. Right? He's a fucking, a questioning... He's a martyr. So I don't want to forget about him, but I don't want to try to remember every person that's ever died, because there's so much shit that's... What I try to do when it comes to history is what Howard Zinn said we need to do. And that's we got to pull out our heroes. Because, lots of atrocities and bullshit have happened all throughout histories, but it's all throughout history, but it's those people. There's Willis Russells, who's a man I discovered out of Owen County, Kentucky, who fought the entire local government, the county judge and the mayor and the sheriff, and the entire local government was KKK, but he was a U.S. federal marshal, and he single-handedly took them all down. Eventually, he gives up his life in order to do that. That's a badass. He looked at the entire society. He knew his sworn duties. He had the power of the federal government to enforce laws, and he used that power to do some good. So that's a badass. That's a good fucking, example throughout history. A man to emulate. A man to try to be like. So, in Northern Ireland, I like bonfires. I think those are freedom fires. I hate living in a city because you're not supposed to burn shit, but because of this 11th night, which is a Protestant thing, which is bullshit, but they also put Catholic symbols in their effigies, and there's Republican Irish national symbols, so they burn shit, right? They burn effigies, and it's bonfires all throughout Northern Ireland. It's pretty exciting shit, actually. So, that would be fun to do. July 11th, 1862, Abraham Lincoln. Another good example of, somebody who had to plow through the bullshit. He appoints the General Halleck, the General-in-Chief. So, who is Halleck? I don't know. I bet he's a fucking badass. July 11th, 1975, the archaeological wonder Terracotta Army is found in China. This is magnificent. A guy's digging a well, and then there's all these clay models of soldiers with each of the faces were different and like pristine. So they cleaned it up, and you got to see the picture. It's called Terracotta Army, and it's found again, rediscovered July 11th, 1975. Last thing, the first cultural pearl is obtained by Kokichi Mikimoto. Cultural pearl. What is this? I'm trying to appreciate. Is this Japanese culture? I'm not. Cultured pearl. So somebody, 1893, he found a pearl that was cultured. I don't know. So those are the events of July 11th that I will take a look again, and take a look at next year and listen to what I said and re-rank them.